Hey everybody, Chris DeSantis here, and I'm going to be reacting to another YouTube video. This time, something completely tantalizing came up on my YouTube feed, and I just could not resist in this moment. For those of you who love nerding out about swim history, I think you're going to really enjoy it. For those of you maybe who haven't gotten into it in the past, listen up. I think maybe you'll find something that you weren't expecting. The video that came up, and we'll get to it here just in a second, is Giorgio Lamberti setting the world record in the 200 freestyle. Now that may be not a name that's familiar to a lot of you, and maybe it's just special to me because when I first became aware of swimming world records, Giorgio Lamberti was somebody that had the world record in the 200 free. He was the world record holder prior to an era where you had Thorpe and then of course Phelps after him. And in many ways, it was similar to Paul Biederman in the sense that when you look at, Thorpe and Phelps, these sort of all-time greats, I think even before Lamberti, I'd have to look at the world record progression. Maybe we'll take a look at this as we do the video. There was Michael Gross, who was, a really, really big star of his time. Giorgio Lamberti certainly was a very good swimmer, good enough to set the world record in one of the premier events in the world. But at the same time, he didn't have this sort of long, stretching career. He sort of came up, put up some really big results, and he didn't back it up over many, many years in terms of especially, coming through at an Olympic Games. But let's get to the race, because the other thing I think is always important to watch with some older swimming races is I love to watch for, yes, what is different. You're going to notice some things about this race. I know right off the bat, the starts are going to appear totally comical to what we're used to today in swimming. At the same time, there's going to be things that they're doing that are the same, or you go, even maybe we've forgotten. Progress doesn't just go linearly. We have things that improve over time. There's a reason why many swimmers are faster than Lamberti's time now, but there's also a reason why it's hard to swim faster than Lamberti did. So I'm going to be really curious. I haven't watched a lot of footage of Giorgio Lamberti swim. This, of course, is the highlight example of his whole swimming career. So let me bring up a shared screen and we can get right to it. We set the stage here too. You have this final. I see a couple of familiar names here. Of course, this is taking place, I believe at the 1989, if I scroll down, it's 1989 European Championships. So it's kind of a very special time capsule of a time because you have here Peter Sitt, and this abbreviation may be maybe unused to this, but this is West Germany essentially. And then you have Uwe Dassler and Stefan Zessner. They're both representing East Germany in this race. And then you have Lamberti. It's going to be swimming here in lane 3. And then another name that I recognize here, of course, the great Swede Anders Holmertz. He actually was one of those guys who, swam just short of a world record in an era, so he's even more forgotten, I would say, than Giorgio Lamberti, but he swam at 146.7 in the 200 free when the world record was a 146.6, and he did it at the Olympics. So one of the all-time, certainly great Scandinavian swimmers, Anders Holmertz, there in lane 4. And of course you have Artur, Polish last name I can't pronounce, Wojdat would be my best attempt. He was somebody that was competing in the US as a collegiate swimmer, I believe at Iowa. He put up some great NCAA results over that time. He's sort of one of the pioneers in terms of Europeans coming over to the US, competing in the NCAA and really building off some of that success, and had a lot of competitive success especially in European championship level swimming. Definitely swam up from the 200. And then, I could find a little bit of information on every single person in this heat, with the exception of this gentleman at the bottom, Venlam Tajanovic. And this is the abbreviation. I think this is sort of in between Soviet Union and Russia. Again, it's a time capsule. We're 2 years away from the Berlin Wall falling. So some of this East-West stuff in Europe is almost in a transitional stage here. So that's to me as a history nerd also. I love that sort of color and background to a race like this. So let's get this started. Let's see. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to turn off the audio since it appears to be in a language that I do not understand. And I'm guessing this is top to bottom. So we have 1, 2, well, yellow cap, that to me would be Holmertz. So you see Holmertz there, and then just above him is Lamberti. Well, I would say those starts didn't look that bad, guys. So we get a great shot of Holmertz swimming here. And gosh, does this look distinct from the kind of stuff we're watching, especially today in freestyle. Just in terms of the way that he's recovering, how wide his arms swing out next to him. You see so many people swimming so much more narrow and sort of more straight armed, even as, we have a debate about whether straight arm or no straight arm. And a lot of purists are not for straight arm. It's really, I think all of this stuff exists on a continuum. So you can see a very different style here from Holmertz. I think I'm even going to see if I can slow it down just so I can get a better look at what he's doing. Okay, you can see, so that's his right arm. He does get some crossover there. Let's watch that again. What I like about it, though, is he's got a very sort of natural hand hit. A little bit of a head lift there with the breath, but he's hitting in a pretty good place to initiate that pull from what I can see. All right, let's speed it back up and continue watching this race live. So another context for this, Holmertz had actually beaten Lamberti, I think, at the previous European Championship. So he's sort of the favorite, obviously, in the middle of the pool here in this race. And you can see Lamberti is swimming a really aggressive race to get himself out front. So hopefully we're going to get some more foot. Look at that beautiful hand hit by Lamberti. A little bit, you can see a little bit of that gallop in there. That's become, of course, more and more popular. So there's Lamberti flipping first at the wall. The clock's pretty well synced up, so we get 25-1 as the opening split. Does look like a bit of a quaint opening split for a 200 free these days. But, and you can see, of course, these guys are flipping, and there's no flags in here, but most of these heads would be up by the flags, which is, I think just a hilarious context, of course, as we look at, like I coach 15-year-olds and I'm getting them to put their head out past the flags. So it's definitely a big thing that's changed in swimming. Lamberti's just swimming with a beautiful rhythm out in front. And really looks like he's in control of this race. And it's a big deal for somebody like Holmertz, as we said, was the favorite. And he's putting so much pressure on him with the way that he's taking out this race in front. It's going to be at 52 at the wall. Now 52, if you look at the context of, we're sort of in an era here where almost nobody has gone 48 in the 100 free. 52 is not a bad out for sure in this race, but in the context of, we know now, spoiler alert, he's going to go 146. It's certainly not aggressive at all. And so, you think that, I think every now and then it seems like 200 free, historically, we can get into a sort of rut where people just aren't daring to put the whole race together after an aggressive out. So I'm really excited to see Lamberti here sort of redefining the way to pace this race. Watch him turn on the legs there on the third lap. And now it's just him and Holmertz out there. And Holmertz is just trying to hang on here in this race, keep pace with him. I think that's Artur down here that's sort of moving up on the rest of the field here on this third lap. Really nice third lap for Lamberti. Just keeps opening up that stroke as he goes and galloping out there in front. And he's kept such a consistent, good rhythm throughout the whole race, and swimming away from everybody here on this last lap. 1:46.69. Let's see the reaction. When does he see his time? Awesome. You always love to see that face, right? It's like that delayed space between I've finished, I'm looking, wait, did I really go 1:46.69? And then as it fully washes over, and he's got the celebration going. Holmertz came over to give him the congratulatory handshake. Also so funny to see this meet happening outdoors, of course, used to be much more popular thing in international swimming. It is one of the reasons why, it seems like all of the innovations, I would say, we've put in terms of meets have all been built around making the conditions better for faster racing, because we're sort of obsessed with records and faster and faster, faster, faster. It's things, if you take aside a 50, and maybe we'll do a whole nother video, you can comment in the bottom if you want me to dig into that Schustrom video where she goes 24.4 outdoors to set the 50 fly world record, which I think will be a record that will be around for a very long time. But with the exception of a 50, there's just not really competitive advantages, and certainly not time advantages to swimming outdoors. So in many ways, even more impressive to see this quality of a swim from a guy in a outdoor swim meet here. So I hope you enjoyed, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. I hope you enjoyed digging into history with me, with Lamberti. Before we go, let's world record progression 200 freestyle. Pull that up. I got to share my screen again so you can see it. Okay, so going into this race, so nobody had been faster than 1:47. I forgot about Duncan Armstrong. Nobody tell Brett Hawk. I don't want the Australian gang finding out that I'm forgetting about Duncan Armstrong. So I skipped him here from Michael Gross, had brought it down to 1:47.4. Armstrong had improved on that a little bit. This is a massive leap, though, from 1:47.2 to 1:46.6. Of course, I elided over Grant Hackett again, who made this sort of tiny little nick on it. It took 10 years, though. That's sort of what's so impressive to me also about Lamberti, is to be able to hold on to a world record. And if we scroll down here, of course, we're going to see that Biedermann's been holding on to it a long time, but we also have, some alternate explanations for that. But Grant Hackett, of course, making this little improvement. And then you've got Thorpe Van den Hoogenbond, how can I forget about Hoogie? Loved watching these races. Again, somebody that sort of reclaimed that aggressiveness in the race in the face of Thorpe, who would just sort of, nobody would challenge him on the first 100, and then there was nobody who could come anywhere near him on the second one. And Hoogenbond was somebody that really sort of turned it around by pressing Thorpe hard on the first 100 and building an advantage that he could just sort of hold on to. Thorpe, of course, responds because he's Thorpe and he's amazing. And then you have the Phelps to Biederman progression. And we don't see a lot of, honestly, we don't see a lot of 143s anymore. So it's hard for us to think about somebody going 141. And it could be, again, a long time, but I do think we will see this record broken. So thank you for diving in with me and getting into this little name. And you can see Lamberti, it's not that he had a bad career, but for somebody who was the world record holder, look at this medal table. We have no Olympic medals. So he just happened to peak at the wrong time. He was just 20 years old when when he set this record. He looks like a very young man in the video. He didn't make finals at the 1988 Olympics, and did he even qualify? Oh, he finished 5th at the 1992. So he came in with the world record at the 92 Summer Olympics. And I guess that's why we should remember Hallmarks, because he did quite a bit better than that when they got there. So thanks for coming on this journey with me. If you like this content, let me know in the comments. If you want to see me react to more old swimming videos, I've got plenty of them left to react to, and I'll see you again soon.